I've had a lot of misguided aspirations in my life. NBA player, successful actor, someone who knows what to say to strangers at bars. But I've never felt so far away from my goal than when I got to high school. I was what you would call lame. I didn't know anyone. I had just come off a summer having gone to 3 band camps. And I looked like the lovable loser Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite after he shaved off all his hair and started wearing a woman's wig. Yeah, not great. I was doing really well by brown kid standards. I was keeping my parents happy academically, having just skipped 8th grade. And I was killing it as a teenage boy. I had a secret girlfriend who I was hiding from my parents because they're immigrants and there's no section on the SAT for dating. And even better, despite the fact that I looked like the lead character from the Our Changing Bodies puberty video, my secret girlfriend and I would review sheet music every weekend. But when I entered 9th grade, I was failing miserably at what I thought to be my American dream: mediocre high school popularity. And to do that, I felt like I needed to be someone totally different. Now, I wasn't totally without hope. I had to pass the school district's strict social competency requirement to skip a grade. And thanks to the last kid they let skip, that basically meant that I needed to hold a conversation without making dinosaur noises or picking my nose. Check. And guys, I was so popular at all 3 band camps. Just for looking like a movie character, despite how unbecoming and racially tone deaf the comparison was. I had all of these younger campers I'd never met before coming up to me with sheet music and misspelled Padro for President signs for me to autograph. And I looked at my adoring fans and I began to wonder, Jay, are you cool now? No. What was happening was a phenomenon that would mirror itself across many of my great accomplishments in life. I was being mistaken for some other actually successful brown man, and I didn't correct the mistake. All I'm saying is that if casual racism gives you some coattails, sometimes you ride them. But I got a taste for a small cult following mixed with general tepid approval, and I needed more. I needed more. When I got to high school, those things were pretty slow to come. I sat alone at lunch my first day and my second, but on the 3rd day, I summoned up the courage to get rejected by the juniors in band. I decided I needed to do something, and something was taking a page out of my awkward Hollywood doppelganger's book. I would run for secretary of the band. I was up against the incredibly effective incumbent, who actually started the position the year before, really playing into stereotypes of overachieving flautists. But I had a secret weapon up my sleeve. After Becky gave her incredibly well-articulated vision for what needed to be done that upcoming year, I stepped up to give my platform. I'm here to bring something new to the band, a fresh perspective, and if you vote for me, all your wildest dreams will come true. Now, for those of you who don't know, that last line is the incredibly lame conclusion to Pedro's presidential stump speech in Napoleon Dynamite. I got laughed at, and then I won in a landslide. And there it was. I'd figured it out. The process that American high schools have used for decades to quantify popularity. Meaningless elections. Secretary of the band was great, but I decided that I wanted to aim a little bit higher. I would run for vice president of my freshman class. I was opposed by well-liked, smart, pretty Lisa Boyer. Now, Lisa was really kind and supportive. I knew that she wouldn't fight dirty, making her a great target. And vice president was the perfect empty yet attainable position for a social striver like me. I had to get 25 signatures to get my name on the ballot, which is pretty easy when you don't tell people what they're signing. But getting a majority of my freshman class to vote for me, that would be difficult. Cheesy movie lines wouldn't work. I had to tamp down what I now know to be social anxiety and self-doubt, or what we used to call being a big wuss, and risk putting myself out there. This was swimming in the deep end. Pretty easy when you're holding onto the wall, but so hard to let go and push off when you're convinced you're going to drown. So I held onto the wall for dear life and decided to aim my campaign at the social outcasts that exhibited my high school. And lucky for me, there were a lot of them. I got to know the geeks and the gamers and the stoners and the slackers, and by election day, I felt like I had a chance. I got into school that morning, and in earth science class, Lisa came up to me and wished me a warm, "Good luck, Jay." To which I responded, "Good luck, Lisa," in a voice that could only be described as gratingly polite. According to my unscientific exit polls, which I conducted by trying to maintain eye contact with people until they either showed their guilt or got creeped out. According to those, it was a pretty close race. A couple weeks later, a surprise announcement came on over the intercom at the end of the day. And as they announced the election results for the seniors and the juniors and the sophomores, I began to zone out. And then my Spanish class erupted in applause. I had won vice presidency. I had won vice presidency. What? What? I was so taken aback because my classmates had seen me, not Pedro, not "if you vote for me, all your wildest dreams will come true." They saw me, and they decided that I was worth voting for. I felt ready to be the effective leader that my classmates seemed to think that I was. That year, I set an unmatched record for doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. As I've been reminded by my family and my friends and my ex-girlfriends and a lot of my former bosses, potential doesn't age well. The following year, I didn't even consider a re-election campaign. I threw my support behind Lisa, and she became the effective vice president that I had dreamed of. I learned a very valuable lesson. Uninterested and disaffected voters can be easily swayed by a loser looking to boost his ego. Too soon? Probably too soon. But that lesson came in handy by my senior year when I founded a civics club to educate my newly voting age classmates about the upcoming presidential election. Now, Barack Obama might not have needed those 100 or so votes to win Massachusetts in 2008, but it was so inspiring to be part of that wave. Here was a man of color who was mistaken for none of the presidents who came before him, swimming in the deep end and succeeding nonetheless. Thank you.